My name is Tim O'Connor, and I directed the short film 5 Hard Lessons.
Tim, a direct question.
All right.
Why do you make films?
Why do I make them? I think since I was a kid, I've always sort of, I don't know, I grew up in a house where the TV wasn't allowed. You know, we could only watch TV 1 hour on Fridays.
Wow.
So anytime you would go to the movies, it was a big event, you know? So it has this sort of like mystical...
aura around it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know. I grew up. I always knew that I wanted to do something with storytelling. I read a lot. I was crazy about the movies that I did see, and from a kind of early age, I would always be taking the camera from my parents' camcorder and those kinds of things, and I just got interested in it, and then I just didn't come up with any backup plans. So. I don't know. I didn't think much about it, I guess. I just like doing it, and it makes sense to me, and I don't know.
I see.
The process is can't ask for more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have seen your first films in cinema, actually, not necessarily on TV.
Yeah. I mean, we had a VCR, so I was crazy about Star Wars when I was a kid.
Got it.
Right. But yeah, I would say that the first movies that I can remember seeing were the ones in theaters. Disney animated movies and that kind of thing. Yeah.
All right, tell us a little bit about your film now. What is it about, and what's the origin of the story? Or
sure. Yeah. So the movie is it's called 5 Hard Lessons, and it is 5 pieces. It's basically. It's the story about a kid growing up over the course of, and it jumps through time. It starts when the kid is 6 years old, and then he's 8 years old, and then he's 13, and then 19, and then 24. And it's funny because I was writing another movie. I was going to make a short film, and I was writing this other thing, and it was sort of like a thriller, and it was very traditional and kind of like beginning, middle, and end kind of thing. And I wrote 12 drafts of this thing, and it just didn't. It just wasn't good. I didn't know what it was about. I was making it because I thought I really needed to make like the great short film. And then about a month and a half before we were supposed to start shooting this thing, I just was like, I can't. I don't know what this is about. I can't make this. And I threw it out, and I very quickly wrote this new thing, which are just like. Some of them are based on real memories. A lot of them are exaggerated, from my actual life. But I'd been reading short stories that were very small little snippets of life that, and I just figured, why not? I think I came up with the title first. Actually, I just thought of the title and thought that there'd be something good about seeing 5 tiny little moments from somebody's life. I'm not entirely sure what the connecting tissue is. I just know that, there's something weird that happens in our memory where we just remember small details for whatever reason, and it's a little mysterious, but, somehow there's like a cohesion that you can't quite explain, but seems to make some sense, I think.
So would you say that there's a lot of you in it?
I would say there's a decent amount of me in that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Exaggerated for sure. It's not exactly what happened, but there was a time when I tripped my mother.
Really?
On Christmas. Yeah, okay. And it's a story that has been a family joke for a long time. Yeah.
What would you say is the main idea that you are trying to convey to the audience? In the end?
Yeah. I think the main idea is just about the strange things that make us the people that we are. The strange, very specific, unique experiences that we remember later on in life, and somehow, for whatever reason, make us do things. I mean, it's actually so the movie is structured with a kind of bookended with the present day, and that wasn't always the case. It was a classmate of mine suggested to structure it that way, and it sort of brings it all together because it used to just be chronological. But this way, it sort of it makes it as if he's remembering things, and that's helping him decide what he's going to do in the end of the movie. And if it was one main idea, it was just, I guess it's just, you know, the strange pathways that memory takes you down, you know, and how that can manifest in decisions you make over the course of your life.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Tim, what is the best and the worst part about being a filmmaker?
Ooh, best and the worst part. The best part is the doing it. I don't, there's nothing better than being there, and there's a camera there, and there's people there who are, you know, everybody is in a room together trying to make something, tell a story, and everybody's focused on it, and you're deciding things about how best to say something to an audience, and there's nothing better than that. It's fun, it's hard, it's exhausting, but it's just rewarding. It's great to be there and to be working on it, and to figure, to face all the problems that come up on a film set or in the editing room or while you're writing, and then finding the solutions to those. Like there's nothing better than that. Cool. The worst part. I guess all the parts that aren't the making of the thing, the finding the money and the distribution and getting it out into the world, and the politics of this and that, and figuring out how to make a living and balancing, your creative pursuits with your, the ability to survive in the world. I think, there's a famous Orson Welles quote about filmmaking that it's 5% filmmaking and 95% begging to start filmmaking. Something like this. I'm butchering it, but yeah, everything that isn't the actual doing of the thing can get a little tiresome, I would say. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do you think that living and working in New York has influenced your work?
Well, I would say the community of people here is exciting and inspiring for sure. There's a fast-paced, manic energy happening in New York City for sure. Like this movie there's two sections of it that take place in New York City. It's sort of like I've been living here for 5 years now, so it's sort of become part of my consciousness, I guess. I would just say that the particularly coming to Columbia, the people that I've met here are just, they're so good. It's totally infuriating, to be surrounded by people who are as talented as the people that I go to school with. Is it's great because it really gets you going, because you don't want to look foolish amongst such talented people, but it's challenging because everybody's so good, and there's some healthy competition, I would say. Yeah.
What's the number one question on your mind these days?
Number one question?
Yeah. What are you struggling with, or? Yeah.
So filmmaking related, I would assume, because politically there's plenty to.
doesn't quite matter. Maybe.
Well,
you as a human being.
Yeah, I guess the number one thing that I'm worried about is that the country's going to continue to exist. But that's an issue that I'm not going to have very much to do with, unfortunately. It seems like. I would say as far as filmmaking goes, I've recently just been trying to figure out how to balance. This short is a very personal, small, kind of intimate, realistic drama comedy kind of thing, and you know, that's the kind of, I do want to make that kind of thing, but I also realize that I need to be, also want to entertain people. I want to make something that is going to draw people in. So finding a way to balance, you know, sort of higher entertainment with sort of like the smaller, intimate kind of storytelling that I did with the short is something that I've been thinking a lot about.
Cool.
Yeah.
In all sincerity, what do you know about Romania?
What do I know about Romania? Well, not much, I would say. I mean, I do, like I said, a very good teacher of mine. I just sent him a cut of my latest film. Bogdan Petri from Romania I think he's the only Romanian that I know. But he's been a like really great. He was my directing 4 teacher, so he's the last directing teacher that I had, and he sort of had this way of synthesizing. You know, at Columbia, there's many different directing faculty, and they have different. You know, there's certain professors who deal with sort of like, you know, the abstract and not the abstract. There's certain professors who focus on certain elements like the ideal and structuring of shots and story, and there's other professors who focus more on practicality, and you know, you're on set and you have 12 hours and all of these things, and Bogdan manages to kind of like synthesize everything in a very coherent way.
Cool.
But as far as my knowledge of Romania, you know, I've got a lot to learn.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
One final message to the audience of our little festival over there.
Well, first and foremost, I hope you enjoy the movies, and you know, I'm happy to share this little thing that we made with an audience. You know, certainly when I made it, I didn't imagine it playing on a screen in the mountains of Romania, but I couldn't be more excited to do so.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.